Entering 2021, many pharmaceutical companies across the world have developed relatively safe COVID-19 vaccines, such as Pfizer, BioNTech, and Sinopharm. Currently, many countries have started mass vaccination. There are two types of vaccines. The first one, inactivated vaccines, represented by Sinopharm of China. And the second, mRNA vaccine, represented by Pfizer. So, should people receive COVID-19 vaccine? What kind of vaccines should we choose? I did a lot of research on that. First of all, let me introduce the difference between these two vaccines. You may find it hard to believe that the mRNA vaccine is a new technology, although there have been a lot of research on it. This is the first time that a larger number of human beings receive this type of vaccine. The safety of the vaccine has not been tested for a long time, so its safety issue is like Schrodinger's time bomb. Nobody knows whether there exists such a bomb. Even though it's known, no one knows when it will blow up and how severity of the damage. In 1955, a similar vaccine was produced by Carter Pharmaceuticals Company in the United States. But unfortunately, 192 people were paralyzed, including many children, and 10 people died after the vaccination. In comparison, inactivated vaccine, as the most mature technical means, is certainly a safe choice. Injecting an inactivated vaccine is equivalent to injecting an organic substance into the body, and there's basically no adverse reaction. But inactivated vaccines also have a disadvantage, that is mass production. Can you imagine? Inactivated vaccines are grown from eggs, except that they are not the eggs we eat, but a special kind of egg white. So the production cost of inactivated vaccines are higher. Besides, the production capacity of the vaccine may be affected by the production of special egg whites. In addition, dealing with mutations is also an obvious shortcoming. Once the virus has mutated, inactivated vaccines will have to be redeveloped and reproduced. Finally, there's a big difference between the two vaccines in terms of production and storage. Although the mRNA vaccine has a high capacity and is cheaper, this kind of vaccine have to be stored in -70 degrees Celsius environment. So people in Africa and the Equator had better give priority to the inactivated vaccines. After all, you can use the refrigerator at home to store it. But if you are afraid of needles or suffer from blood phobia, you must know in advance that the vaccination of the inactivated vaccines should be done in several times, which means it will hurt you more than once. But there's also good news. From the data disclosed so far, the efficacy of both types of the vaccines are stable, and the efficacy of the mRNA vaccine is a little better. Well, according to statistics released from Pfizer and BioNTech companies, the vaccines from the two companies were 95% effective in preventing virus infection 28 days after the first dose. They are also 94% effective among seniors aged about 65 years old. But the bad news is, it's unknown how long will the immunity of either Pfizer or China's Sinopharm vaccine last. Second, do we all need to get vaccinated? My suggestion is, it depends on individuals. Well, if you are from a high-risk group, such as medical staff, customs workers, etc., please make an appointment for vaccination as quickly as possible, because you will contribute a lot to social stability if you are in healthy physical conditions. If you are one of the high-risk group, such as the elderly, children, or pregnant women, please get vaccinated immediately. Because coronavirus is really not a more severe flu, and not every patient will completely recover and let the virus go easily. The virus may let you go instead. If you are an ordinary people, my advice is to wait. Save the vaccine for those who need it most. Put on a mask and avoid going out. Just be an otaku. As for which vaccine to get, I prefer the classic one. After all, in the history of humankind, there are only two types of vaccines that have been used on a large scale: the attenuated vaccine and the inactivated vaccine. No vector vaccine or nucleic acid vaccine, including the mRNA and DNA vaccines, has ever been approved for use before. It takes 15 to 20 years or even longer to develop a vaccine, from R&D, clinical test to mass production. The phase 3 clinical trial usually takes several years, so new technology doesn't equal good technology. The conservative but safe inactivated vaccine seems to be the more scientific choice. If you don't even eat genetically modified food, I believe you have more excuses to refuse to have a Schrödinger's gene injected into your body. Finally, I would add that don't get COVID-19 vaccine and the HPV vaccine at the same time. Well, the year 2021 has just come. I wish you a good health.